Hello, everybody. Just getting ready to get started here. Give us a little bit, and we'll get going maybe around 10:01. We'll give some people a little bit more time to finish getting their coffee, get their snacks, and get set up and ready to go. So look for us to start here in about a minute or so.
Hey Adam, you're on mute there. You wanna?
Yep, coming off mute. Sorry about that. All right, folks, I think we've waited long enough. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody, to the Salient eXchange for June 4, 2026. I'll be your host for this event. My name's Adam Benson. I am the VP of Customer Operations, and I'm really excited to work with the product team here. We've got Chris Garner and Dan Berg on board, and we're going to be showing you guys a look at some of the things that we will be releasing here towards sometime this month on Complete View 8.0. We've got some pretty cool stuff to look at. So let's go ahead and maybe get this thing going. Before we get into all of the cool stuff to take a look at, all the new features and functions in the product, just a little bit of general housekeeping before we get started. Everybody on the call is muted right now. This is a default setting. This is so that we can keep background noise down and whatnot. We do want to hear from you though, so feel free to give us your questions as you develop them as we're going through the presentation. Use the chat function or use the Q&A function. Just type those questions in. When we get done with the presentation, we will circle back to those questions and we'll try to address as many as we have, given the amount of time that we've got. If we can't get to all the questions, we will do a summary of those questions and answer any additional ones in some follow-up communication that will come out to you guys at the end of the presentation. We are recording this webinar, and we will make this content available for you guys on salientsys.com. So if you do miss a part of it or two, feel free to hit the website and you can play that recording back and get any pieces of information that you might have missed. So with that being said, let's go through our agenda real quick and we'll get going. So we got a bunch of really cool things, as I said before, to show you that's coming up in 8.0. The two, I think, really most impactful things that we want to show you guys from 8.0 is going to be our enhanced search. Some of you, if you visited us at the trade shows, might have seen some demonstrations on this, but Chris will give you a whole lot more detail. But we're really, this is basically metadata search, a way to start your search using scene attribute information as opposed to just a traditional time and date. We're also going to show you a hardware replacement wizard. A lot of you out there have been doing hardware refreshes and updates, and this is a tool that's designed, or a function in the product that's designed to make that entire process a whole lot simpler, a whole lot easier. Also, the most popular link on our website, our design tool wizard, that has gotten an overhaul. We've given it a new look. We've given it some new capabilities. Those capabilities are related to the work that we're doing with 8.0. So we're going to give you guys a look at what that looks like as well. And then Dan's going to spend some time walking through some really cool integration updates that we've got. There's a handful of different technologies that have completed integrations with our platform. Dan will show you what those things look like. And then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about our 2026 roadmap. We'll show you the things that we're working on for the rest of this year. And then we'll get to the Q&A session. So hopefully that sounds good to y'all. And we'll get going here. So first on deck is what's new in Complete View 8.0. And we're going to start off with our enhanced search. Chris Garner, product manager, is going to walk you guys through that really cool technology. Chris, you want to take it?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So we'll talk a little bit about enhanced search here and how we're really using that or leveraging metadata to facilitate this search capability. So We created a simple what, when, where approach for investigators. So you can answer those particular questions, define your attributes such as your object you're looking for, person or vehicle, gender, clothing, color, vehicle details. And this can greatly reduce the amount of time spent searching for individuals visually along a timeline or scrubbing back and forth and such. Enhanced search does leverage your existing on profile M cameras. So this means that you don't have to go buy a bunch of new cameras if they already support profile M, nor do you have to go and add a bunch of costly upgrades to your servers for GPU to process the video to generate the metadata. So we're getting all this from your cameras out there deployed in many of your environments today. So one of the premises, like I said, we have three simple questions you have to answer here. So when, where, and what. So many investigations begin with getting that level of detail, when it occurred, what was involved, and where the event happened. So in complete view, the when allows the investigator to select from predefined time periods or enter a specific time frame to search from. Where allows the investigator to select one or more cameras using the context they're most comfortable with, such as your views, or if you're comfortable with where a camera is placed on a map, or even from just a drop-down list or a tree list of your cameras. Further, the customers or investigators can build complex searches using or to locate specific criteria based on the metadata they're selecting. So that's the last question. The what is, I can define the attributes I'm looking for. Again, is it a person? Is it a vehicle? What is the person wearing? Are they carrying a bag? What color the vehicle? So I can define the what using the different attributes there, and then use that advanced logic for and or to build more complex queries. This all, once you've built that search, you can then generate the results, which are returned as thumbnails. And this, again, allows the investigator to quickly and visually look at the scenes that are returned that matches that criteria they put in there. So, again, what you can search for here. So, Complete View stores the metadata received from the cameras and allows investigators to search on different attributes. So we allow people to be looking at their gender, their clothing color for the tops and the bottoms, and if the person has a belonging, such as a bag, you can also define its color. Likewise, with vehicles, we can sort on or search on a car, truck, motorcycle, bicycle, or bus. So there's different types of vehicles, and the primary color of the vehicle. So it would be what the metadata returns back is that primary color. So let's take a moment and look through a demo of how enhanced search works in action here. So in here, this is Complete View, and I've got my playback module open here, and we've got this new capability for enhanced search, new icon there. And I'll start going down the list here, defining my when. So here I can look from predefined times, and in this case, I'm going to use a time period, and I'm going to set my date and time like you're used to in our date and time pickers. So I'm going to go back to March 12th is when I got a report. It was in that morning, so I'm going to pick between 7:22 and let's sometime in around 11 o'clock here. Get this entered in. Yeah, 11:22. So we got a few hours there. We're going to look for. Then I go and I look at my where. So these are where the camera was located here. So I've got by server, by view. So by view, I will have a list of views I can look at. I can select a view and select cameras from here. I can individually select camera, and you'll see them populate on the left. Or I can go and select all, and all of those cameras will be added to that left. So you can get a running total of what cameras are added. Likewise, if you're more comfortable with using a map where a camera is placed, I can pull up my different maps. We've got an icon on there, and I can select that. I can also easily just unselect it, and it will be added and removed from the left tree as well. Finally, if you're more comfortable with doing the tree view, I can individually select cameras here. I can select them all under that particular recording server and search for those. Now we'll go through and define a what. So here, my first search, I'm going to do a person. These are the different attributes that we can look for. So gender, I'm going to search for female. We can set the confidence level. I'm also going to set a color here, and I'm going to select that they have a bag and that it was a black bag. And then I'm going to apply that filter. And then we'll hit search, and we can see how quickly that I get matching results. So I've got 5 results there, and it automatically starts playing the first clip in the results. But I can increase my thumbnail size so I can get a better view of what's going in there, and I can easily switch to another clip here. Let's do another. So let's do another search and refine this to using vehicles. So again, we've got vehicle type here and the different types that we had listed. And I'm going to select for a truck, and we're going to look for color. Oh, wait, I need to go add the truck back here, and we're going to pick a color of blue. Apply that filter, and we're going to search. And like I said, you can see your results here. And we have the full VCR control, so I can stop, scroll, or scrub back and forth. So anything you can do in the traditional playback interface, you can do here in Enhanced Search for the VCR controls. All right, let's jump back over to the presentation here. So let's talk a little bit about how this works. So we get metadata from the cameras that streams both the video and the metadata to the recording server. The recording server will take that video or that information in, and it's going to record the video just like it always has. We're going to be also adding bounding box information as from the metadata into the AVI files for any of the metadata-enabled cameras in complete view. So so that way we can render those bounding box back on playback. The recording server will then pass on the rest of the metadata from the recording server into the event service. The event service then takes that information in and actually stores the metadata in its database. From there, your investigator will perform their search in the desktop client where it will actually query the event service. The event service will look for any matching results and provide those back to the desktop client, along with a reference to where the video is at for the recording server. So now when you start doing playback, you have the information about the matching results and the corresponding video for for your search. So it makes that quick and easy and a very targeted search for your investigators. The results are only display 30 image or 30 results max on screen at a time. If you have more than 30 results, it will show you how many results you have, and you can actually page through all those. If you get a large set of results, or potentially maybe you don't get any results, that's where you can go back and refine your search to make sure you can get the right results coming in here. So some things to know for about enhanced search. First, the cameras will need to support ONVIF Profile M, which is common in most cameras produced after 2020. Also, when deploying enhanced search, there's consideration on the amount of storage needed for metadata. And we have updated Design Tool Wizard to help provide information on this. And we'll talk about the Design Tool Wizard in here in just a moment. Additionally, there's a new service called the Event Service, and depending on the number of cameras using the metadata in the system, considerations of where to run the servers and the associated database will be required. Finally, you want a couple of things about enhanced search is it works with any edition of complete view, so Pro, Enterprise. If you have one, you could use enhanced search there. This all starts in version 8.0, which we'll be releasing here in just a week or so. And then finally, this is only supported today in the desktop client, so it's not supported on our web clients. That'll be something that's coming in the future. And this is only for the on-prem connection. So if you're using cloud, the enhanced search will not work through your cloud connection. So only when you're connected on-prem. Let's jump
That's
over
pretty cool.
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
That's pretty cool stuff, Chris. Thanks for walking us through it. So, quick question: we built this in a way that acknowledges the fact that performing a search really is about finding a particular event that you're looking for using your time, your date, and then your descriptions. But we built this in a way that you can take the results from your enhanced search using your attribute-based information, take that point in time and that camera information over to one of our other search modules, and then begin expanding your search back out on dragging in additional cameras, right? So we made it to do that, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, this is really to help augment. Actually, I think it was you here recently talking about the whole investigator flow of being able to funnel it down, find the specific event, and then use that as your point of reference to then go find other related material. And so absolutely, enhanced search definitely allows you to do that. Once you find that specific time or event that you're looking for, you can have this and look at associated videos or other cameras starting at that same point of that instance. So that way you can actually hopefully find other related scenes, or maybe where a suspect came into the on-premise or something. So yes.
Yeah, pretty cool. And folks, remember this is our first release of this function. This took us a while to build. It's a pretty awesome and pretty powerful tool, but it is the first release into the marketplace with it. We do plan on building on this, enhancing to grab more attribute information, additional criteria, and also to improve the overall usability of the platform. So excited to get this to you guys in the marketplace, and also even more excited to have some conversations with some of y'all after you've deployed it, and get some of that feedback on what's working, what you like, and what we can do better. So thanks. Hey, Chris, what else do you have to show us?
So the next thing on deck here is a recording server hardware replacement. So this is a really was born out of requests from various customers, and I would say primarily our support teams and such, by working with our different customers. As Adam mentioned earlier, there's a lot of customers out there doing hardware refreshes. We also have instances where, unfortunately, servers fail, and customers need to go and push the configuration down to a new piece of hardware. So this is what the replacement wizard will do. It works within the desktop client, so you don't have to load up some new utility. And from there, we can then push the configuration from the management server down to the recording server. This has always been the case, but there's been a challenge of having to go and manually set up the recording server to actually be able to connect to the management server initially once you get that from the factory. This takes away all that manual effort. So again, this is available in 8.0 and everything, and you will need to have all of your different components, the recording server, management server, clients up on 8.0 to be able to get this functionality and such. So let's talk about a little bit about the process or the solution here. So it's designed to help customers who have had a failure of the recording server, who are replacing the recording server hardware with new hardware. The new hardware will need to use the same IP address as the unit they're replacing. They will also need to have the recording server installed, and will need to have a blank default configuration, just like you would if you received the hardware from setting it right out of the box. From there, we can begin the process by selecting the right-click or selecting the recording server, and then right-clicking on it. You now see a new functionality called Restore Configuration. This is the start of the process here. Once you do this, once you select that, you will launch the pre-flight verification. Pre-flight verification that will go through and verify that it can connect to the unit, that the unit meets the requirements of the prerequisites, such as blank password on the server configuration and stuff like that. This is also, it can connect to it and push the configurations down there. Likewise, if it has TLS enabled, it will disable that and actually provides that information on the screen here. From there, once those prerequisites are met, we start pushing the settings from the management server down to the recording server. And if for whatever reason we run into a challenge, or we can't push the configuration, instead of forcing it down there and ending up where the recording server is in a bad state, we have safeguards built in there. We will stop the configuration push, leaving the new recording server in a operable state where you can at least try to resolve whatever errors and come back to it. Finally, once everything is successful, you'll see a happy path here where everything is nice, and you've shown that we've successfully pushed the recording server configuration down to it. Likewise, it will bring over things such as your VPN profile. So for anyone using cloud for these recording servers, you don't have to go do any additional configurations to get the recording server back connected to the recording to the cloud service. And then one other thing here is, again, if you are using TLS, at the end of this process, you'll have to go back and set up TLS. It does show you a prompt on here. In this screenshots here, I didn't use TLS, but you will see a TLS message saying, hey, you need to go back and re-enable that. That's simply because we don't move the certificates from an old machine to a new one. They have to be certificates for that box, for that system. So, but once you get to this process, your recording server is up and running and should be recording video. So a couple of quick checks, and you'll be able to be good to go. This has really improved the process from what could take up to 8 hours from some reports doing this transition or migration from an old recording server to a new recording server to just a few minutes and everything. So it really streamlines this process for our customers.
You know, I got to admit, at the risk of sounding pretty nerdy, but I am pretty excited about that recording server migration tool there, or the update tool. We do see that a lot in support, and it does require often, help from us to get those things done. So the fact that we're putting control into the hands of the end users that are using these systems, if they're doing that work, or the resellers that are doing the support for them, is pretty powerful. So Chris, what happens if one of those steps errors out? You get an error bang on something. What should the person who's doing that work go do?
Well, so for example, if for whatever reason they did not have they had a configuration that wasn't blank, so there was a password that was already set for the recording server. This is all things that we recommend and such in there, but this is why we need a default configuration. But you'll get a prompt saying, "Hey, passwords don't match," and you can either go and blank your configuration, but maybe you don't know how to do that. You can get in touch with support and say, "Hey, I'm running the design tool or the uh, uh, replacement wizard here, and it's saying that my password doesn't match, or I can't proceed because my password's been changed," and they can help you with getting that configuration set to a default, so that way you can process this through. So it can give you some instructions of where that issue lies, and or work with support to be able to help resolve those matters and such.
Fair enough. So it should be pretty descriptive at the point at which the failure occurred, and you can take a shot at sorting it out yourself. But if it's stressful or not working for you, you've always got access to the support team to try to help you through it.
Correct. Yeah. And
Pretty cool.
yeah, that should be very very easy for us to help you sort out.
And that tool really is used, or that migration, not migration tool, but that replacement tool is going to be pretty useful for customers that are doing server replacements or even failed servers. And I would expect that when you're sizing your new server, you would probably be taking a look at the new design tool wizard that we're about to show, right?
That is correct. Yeah. So we don't have a million slides on this one here, but let me just jump into an actual live demo here. Oh, you're going to get a preview of something before that we'll talk about in a minute. But here's our new design tool wizard. So this is a big change from what we've had before. This is really meant to help drive being able to get the cameras into our design tool wizard as quick as possible without having to go through countless tabs. We still have information on the left, which is representative from the different tabs from before. But let's go through the process here. So we want to go add a group of cameras. We've got some real basic configuration. If you're not doing anything fancy, I just have 20 cameras, and they're going to be at whatever resolution, 4 megapixel, and I want to record for 30 days. I can do that quick and easy. We list our defaults that we're going to use in here, and I can save those changes, and my information is in here. Now, the reason it's saying incomplete is because before I can generate a design, I'm going to have to put some sort of name in here. So I'm going to put that name there. But now I could go and generate a design. But let's not stop there. Let's see what else we can do within the Design Tool Wizard. So I can add another group here, or I can go back into and I can edit this group. And I want to see the advanced options. This is where we start getting into, hey, defining what different protocols we want to use. If we're going to, how this is going to be viewed. These are all things that we had in our previous Design Tool Wizard. But again, we're surfacing them in a different way. We can define what type of recording mode we're going to do, what's our frame rate, compression. So all the things that you would see in our previous version. Enable the ability to do secondary streams. Some other things that we bring to light here that we didn't do in the previous version is better show if you're going to do multi-imager cameras. So if I'm going to do multi-imager cameras, I can select this. I can say, hey, how many images is it going to have? And am I looking at this? Again, this is assuming I'm working on this group here where I've said there's 20 cameras at 4 megapixel. I can say, hey, are these imagers a total of 4 megapixel, or is each imager 4 megapixels each? So again, I can switch that to make sure I get the right configuration in here. But here's the more important part. The reason why we took on the work of updating the Design Tool Wizard is we wanted to be able to enable metadata recording and have this show up in your results and allow you to configure this here. So by default, we're going to put every camera that you've put in this group. If when you enable metadata as using metadata, you can reduce this. If you only have 10 cameras in that group that are going to use metadata, you can reduce this number. But again, we by default assume every camera in that group is going to be using metadata. And we got some different levels of density of objects. How many objects are going to be in the scene that we're going to be generating metadata on? Again, by default, we set this to 20, and this all impacts the amount of data that the event service is going to be collecting and how much size you're going to need for that. So again, this is information that you'll have in here that you can go and set, whether you want to low, medium, or high. And we kind of give you a little description of what each of these scenes are to help you kind of understand what that's going to be. So let's just go ahead and save this changes here. And now we can see also at the bottom, we've got you some summaries here. So, hey, I've got a total of 20 cameras. I know that I'm going to need about 12.6 terabytes of storage for those 30 days of retentions. Also, for my event service, I'm going to need at least 16 gigs of my database. So that's all good, but now let's see actually what the results look like here. So I go show the results. We get a similar look and feel we had before. You can get your multiple different options here: lowest price, rack mountable. You can request a quote, which actually forwards this off to our sales team or inside sales team, where they can be able to get back with you to help you with any questions that you have on the design or generate a quote for you here. We also surfaced some information in here that we didn't have in the previous version, which was the management server and now our event service and metadata. So these help you in planning, like, hey, I need to make sure I have a place for my management server to live, whether it's on a different system or not. Again, it's just a point of reference for you. And we give you some information of how you should construct your management server. Likewise, with the event service, we give you some information on how this event service should be built, like how big the database size should be based on our estimates, what kind of SQL server you would need to use and such. Again, just surfacing some information so you can help in planning this. Then the other thing too is we now actually, instead of having the long list of all the different servers, we now basically collapse these down into, if all of your servers are identical, we will show just how many servers we have and what the configuration is here. If for whatever reason you have a server that's kind of a different configuration than the rest, it will show any of the unique versions of that. So that way you can see how many cameras you're going to put on each of the different recording servers. And again, you still get the same full specifications of the servers you can look at, and you can get into your pricing. And if you have any other questions about our notes or disclaimers, we have that as well in here. We kind of put these in different drawers because not everyone wants to see that all the time. Finally, you can save this report if you want to share this, or if you have questions that you want to work with our teams on specifically. That way you can bring up this report, share it with them, reference it down the road. So this is our new DTW. Hopefully it will be much easier, streamlined process for you guys, for everybody out there to go and put their designs together.
Yeah, that looks awesome. That having all that information stacked up over on the left, and then the results coming out the way that they come out. Pretty cool stuff. Excited to see the interactions with that thing. So folks, use the tool. Give us some feedback. Like Chris showed in the top right, there's a save report. If you have any questions on the design or the results, feel free to save that. Get in touch with your systems engineer. Get in touch with your sales team, and we'll be happy to work through that with you. So excited to see the reports that you guys run and the designs that you guys run on that. So thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Looks like Dan's on deck now. We got some pretty cool integrations to talk about. Dan, you want to show us what's going on?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. We've added a couple of new integration partners over the last few months. First one there I want to talk about is Warden I1 by Vision Core AI. It's a video analytic specifically geared towards correctional facilities, so prisons, jails. And what it does is detects, altercations, fights breaking out, unauthorized touches, man down, fire, weapons. It really looks at the scene and understands the scene. And what's really cool is that it'll give us an alert in complete view with a natural language description of the incident, which is very, very cool. Love that. The next one is SecuriDeck by Pimla. So was a very easy integration. So we used it just in the web view, but they've got a really cool user interface, which I'm going to show you in a moment, that allows you to redact faces, license plates, computer screens, other text that's in the field of view from a exported video clip. And what's really cool about these guys is that you're not buying a subscription, right, that you have to pay for it annually, is you buy credits, all right? And one credit is 1 minute. So if you're exporting out and need to redact 5 minutes of video, that's going to cost you 5 credits. Very simple, very easy. Talking to schools over the years that were primary market for this type of product, they always said it's like, oh, we do this like 3 or 4 times a year. Why do we have to pay, $100 per camera to do this? So this is a great user-friendly, cost-effective solution for that. And then finally, ITV Desk is a new screen recorder application that allows you to record any Windows desktop for like point of sale transactions, things like that. It's very cool. You can select your compression. You can select whether you want, if it's got multiple displays, you can stream each one individually, or you can stream them all at once in one package. A lot of options on there. It'll even do like motion detection based on mouse click or mouse movement. All right, so you get that. So if a terminal is sitting idle for a while, you're not going to need to record that video. It's only when somebody's actually using it, using the mouse or keyboard, that can be used as a recording trigger. All right. So I want to show you. So we've been creating these super demos. These are click-through demos that we've created for some of our partners, and we're going to be doing more of these because they're very cool. This is actually just a video, but it shows you how the click-through demo works. So it just drops you through. Warden i1 or Vision Core AI did a great job of integration on this. Super simple, super easy. Here you just select us from a Salient from a drop-down list, enter your recording server IP address, port's already filled out for you, username, password, click connect, and boom, there you are, connected. And then it's going to be, you auto connect cameras. So it'll query that recording server and say, oh, hey, I found one camera on that one, but it'll report back the number of cameras. You can even send a test alert to Complete View just to verify that the alert's coming through. And this is what it looks like in Complete View. All right, so showing an alarm view. So you get a pop up there, the alert comes in, it's got a description in natural language of what the incident, description of that incident. And of course, you click the alert, you'll get the live and recorded video in the lower right. And of course, also map visualization. Difficult for me to say. Key point there, works with all of your existing, thanks, Chris. It works with all of your existing cameras, right? Whether it's analog, IP, doesn't matter. This works with all of your existing cameras. So it's a nice, easy add-on. So if you're in the correction market, definitely want to check out Vision Core AI. They're a really great product. All right. Next super demo I want to show you. Again, it's just a video of that, but Secure Redact, just show how easy it is. So with this, you're just going to do your exporting as you normally would, right? You're going to find your video. You're going to set your start and stop times. This does work with enhanced search as well, because you can export right from there. But you send your export to the export queue, pull it up there, send it to disk. And then once that's complete, what you would do is open up a web view where Secure Redact is going to be situated. Click on that. Then you'll log in. You do need an account with Secure Redact for this, but you'll log in there. It's very simple and easy. And then you hit the upload button. And just drag your file in there or browse to it. Okay, and then it's going to tell Secure Redact what you're wanting to redact. Faces, license plates, computer screens, other text in the image. You can also redact audio, which is very cool. So it's going to go and do the processing on it. You select that, and then it comes up with this interface. And as objects move through the field of view, they're represented by the bars down at the bottom. Okay, and what you can do with that is if you need to unredact, a person's face in this scenario here, you just check the box there, and it'll unredact that one person. So you see there in the preview that the other faces are redacted, but the one face is not. Okay, and when you're happy with that, you hit export. You can give it a different name if you want to, description, and then it'll process that, and then you just download it, and then you have a nice redacted video clip for public consumption. So very quick and easy. Really, really happy with these guys. Okay, camera updates. All right. Since the beginning of the year, we've added over 80 new camera models from Axis, IQSight, Reolink, FLIR, Vicon, including the Vicon Next platform. These have all been added to the supported cameras list. We've now over 5,000 certified cameras on there, and we're adding new ones monthly. So it's just a constant update, constant process here. But don't forget that you do have the entire OnVIF ecosystem to choose from, which currently is over 35,000 Profile S cameras. So that's pretty amazing. Also of note, we did also add the Axis D6210 and 6310 air quality sensors. So those join our Pelco Halo and Triton Ultra sensors on the supported cameras. Yeah, we're going to probably rename that to devices list there. But we're still moving on that. All right. And I'm going to hand it back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Dan. Pretty cool stuff with those integrations. Quick question.
Mhm.
Where can people get those click-through demos? Are they hosted on our website or Technology
They,
Partners
they
website if they wanted
are
to see them?
Yeah, they are on our website. Just go to Technology Partners, so the Partners menu, and then Technology Partners. Look for Secure Redact, look for Vision Core AI, and on the landing page for each one of those, you'll see the click-through demo.
Cool. Yeah. So if people wanted to just run it themselves and kind of spend a little bit more time staring at the screen and studying it, pretty cool.
Mhm.
Those things are hosted up on the website for them to go see.
Yep, and we
Awesome.
got some more
Well, thanks.
integrations coming.
Always. Dan has one of the fun jobs, where Dan gets to play with all the new technology, all the things that are out there, and make them all work with our platforms.
It is fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. All
You
right.
bet.
So let's spend a little bit of time talking about, we showed you the 8.0. We showed you what the two, like a couple of the really big things. Obviously, there's a lot more coming in 8.0, but these are we only have so much time to show you stuff. And these are the really, really big effort, really impactful things that we wanted to show for you. So let's talk a little bit about, what we're going to be working on for the rest of the year. We're planning on an additional release at the very end of this year. And so we'll spend some time talking about that. And there's a couple of highlights that we'll go through, but really, rather than talking about one of them in particular, I think we'd rather just show it to you first. For any of you that came to ISC West, you might have gotten a demo on this. This is our device manager. It's a technology that basically starts from the concept of giving you all of your device inventory, all of your cameras and systems that are basically out there, and then giving you additional information and control capabilities effectively over those things. So probably best to just show you what to expect with it. So rather than talking, I'll just give it back to Chris. And Chris, can you pop up a quick view and show everybody what Device Manager's like?
Sure. So here's our mock-up. So this not production code here by any means, but this is what we're looking at in terms of our device manager. And as I'm said, this is kind of a way to go and get an inventory of what's going on in your system. So not only just purely tracking the cameras and servers in your network, but also, or in your deployment, but also see the health of what's going on. So here's kind of our top level dashboard where you can see some information about how many total sites. So if you're in a federation, you've got multiple sites, you can do that. Even if you have a single management server, this is still going to be a valuable tool. But you can look at the different recording servers you have, how many total cameras you have, and just get some information of, hey, is things up and running and such. So really good information here. I can dive directly into looking at specific cameras by selecting this card here. Likewise, if I want to look at different sites, I've got some ways to filter out, hey, where do I have, where are my problems arising? Or I can go look at my individual cards down here, which are representative of different sites. So when I think of a site, this is all individual management servers here. So if you're in a federation and I want to click on this particular management server, I will load up a page that brings me to the information for that site, the different recording servers that are in there. And again, I get some information specific to the things that are going on in that site, what's going on for this different recording servers. And this one even has a failover server at this site here. I've got some different tabs here. I can go look at, again, different information about my cameras. Everything's online and looking good. If I've got some issues with my cameras, whatever those could be, we can hover over and get some good ideas of what's going on in here. And then again, some more information about just health of the systems themselves, like is it going? It gives you some information about the licensing processors and stuff like that. So a good way to see how things are being done in or how they're running at your different servers. If I do want to look at the kind of the overall system in terms of all the cameras and stuff, I can hit the manage cameras button here. This actually takes me to that particular site that I was looking at, but I can just go up one level here and I can look at all the different cameras across my entire site. I can search for different cameras. I can, again, get some basic information about them. We're looking at trying to add some basic functionality for like rebooting the camera or potentially resetting it back to its defaults and such. So that's not shown here, but that is something that kind of a stretch goal that we're going to have for this. Another thing that we're looking at trying to add is, and we've got this request, is having some way to verify that the scene is changed or not. So you'll be able to look at, hey, your baseline image and compare it to what your current view is and help understand if the view has shifted. Maybe something's obscuring it or your camera has gotten knocked, out of the area it's really supposed to be at. So again, nice little things that we can do to get some information about your system, how it's running, and if there are problems brewing and such. So that's what we're looking at having by the end of the year.
Very cool. Thanks for walking us through. I think, pictures are worth 1,000 words. So you could listen to me talk about all the things that Device Manager can do for you, but I think it's a whole lot more impactful if you just get a look at what it can do. So let's move on to our next slide, Chris. So the real big takeaway really is that, for Device Manager, obviously, is it's a health and status inventory system and then some health and status and leaning in towards managing your systems. For those of you that have multiple management servers, this does something that we can't just do out of the box with our current platform, which is aggregate data across all of those different management servers and give them to you in one interface. So, Chris showed you the All Sites tab when he clicked on that for his camera management. That's every camera across your entire environment. So some of you might have, 10,000 cameras spread out across 100 different management servers. That one big list gives you a way to look at everything. And then you can start filtering that list based on attribute information. Oftentimes, some of you come to us and ask us for help on helping me find all my Dome cameras. Help me find all, cameras with firmware 123.11. That kind of filter, that kind of search capability exists there just at the inventory level. And then taking it a step further, giving you that health and status information so that you know things like what percentage of my cameras are online all the time, what percentage of them are meeting recording requirements or retention requirements. So very, very powerful capabilities for managing. And it's useful for folks that are even in a single management server kind of environment. Just the additional functions and features that we can start providing, like Chris showed with the reference images or the retention policy things. So those are all, the additional functions and features that this brings to the table. It's useful for you guys that are integrators supporting your customers because it helps you get a good look at what's happening in the environment. And it's useful for you end users when you're managing your platforms, just so that you know when it's time to dispatch work or call in for help. So really excited to see this one. And like the team has said, this is stuff we're working on for delivery towards the end of this year. The next thing to talk about in our 2026 roadmap is improvements that we're making to Alarm View. So Alarm View is one of those clients or the modules inside of our desktop client that's either you use it all the time or you probably never use it. It's primarily designed for the persona that we refer to as the monitor persona, which is someone that spends more time paying attention to events and alarms that are coming through and determining whether or not these are normal operations within the business and then taking actions if necessary. We've listened to the market, and the market's told us that there's improvements that we need to make inside of that Alarm View client, and so that's what we're taking on doing towards the end of this year. We're effectively going to be modernizing that interface with a better interface or better operator workspace that starts to add ways to properly handle or better handle the alarms that are coming in, giving you prioritization, ways to ignore the noise from sites that you're not interested in, ways to perform actions on those alarms, and a audit trail of the transactions that you have performed when you've interacted with those alarms. And it also is going to be bringing in some kind of think of it almost like shift-based work where you can templatize the set of sites that you want to pay attention to and make another template for another set of sites that you want to pay attention to. The use case that we got from one of our customers on that one was basically shift-based work, where I have my day shift wants to pay attention to, and these are monitoring centers, if you will. My day shift wants to pay attention to a set of things that are related to business hour operations But my night shift is paying attention to external views and higher risk areas where, break-ins and other kind of threats exist. So it lets you kind of manage and change the content that you monitor in order to get the best result, and you're not flooded with too much information. So pretty cool improvements that are coming in Alarm View for those of you that are heavily reliant on that client. And obviously the really cool things that we have been putting into the desktop client for enhanced search, we want to leverage that capability for you guys in our other client utilities as well. So next on deck is going to be the web client. So we'll take the things that we've worked on here and shown you in the desktop client and start putting those into your web client so that you can start using that same attribute information, such as the colors of shirts or vehicle types and whatnot, and perform those kind of searches on the web clients as well. So we've got our work cut out for us. We've got, we're taking big bites out of the apple to try to deliver some of these larger functions and features for you guys. But this work that we're doing is coming from you. It's what you're telling us you want us to do. There's a customer behind every single one of these tiles that we've listed. A conversation, meetings, discussions, and scope work that we've done. So keep working with us. Keep giving us the feedback on what you like and what you want to see improved. And hopefully, some of you that are on this call recognize some of these things that we're talking about and remember your interactions with us, where you gave us feedback on what was useful for you and what you need to see in those products. So with that, I think we have reached the end of the content that we wanted to show you. So now we'll open it up for a question and answer session. I will get our QA stuff pulled up here, and we'll start picking out a handful of these questions and get to as many as we can as time permits. So give me one sec to get it all loaded up. All right. So question from Jose Rojas. Is there a full list of cameras that have been validated with Profile M for metadata searches? Dan, you want to grab that one?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And the update next month for the supported devices list will be have there a metadata option on there, or item. So everything that we've tested that supports metadata will be validated on there. You can search on that. And you can also check onvif.org and just search for Profile M for your manufacturer of choice.
Awesome. Hopefully that addresses it for you, Jose. If not, just throw more comments back in there, and we'll try to circle back to it. Next question is from John Smith. The question is, with enhanced search functions now available, does it mean our additional Vadio server is not as relevant anymore? I'll take that one, and Chris, feel free to jump in with any color if I missed something. It's a good question, John.
Too.
What's that?
I have some comments on it as well.
Oh, cool. Then yeah, we'll just get after it. So that's an interesting question, because there are potentially some things that your cameras might be generating that could have an attribute overlap with what you're doing with your Vadio system. But the inverse is also true. There's things that you most likely are going to get out of your Vadio platform that you don't get out of the camera. So really, what you're going to have to do is take a look at each device that you have that's providing Profile M data and figure out what types of metadata it can feed to us. And if that metadata is what you need, perhaps you use it, but you compare it to the rest of the metadata information and the analytic information that you get from Vadio. So Dan, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so with Vadio, you can use it with any camera, right? Whereas enhanced search is really reliant on Profile M compatible cameras. So that's one major difference. Also, Vadio is very much a Swiss Army knife type of analytic engine. Does a lot. You can even pull in recorded clips from cameras that weren't being analyzed, or from even other systems, other sources, and analyze that through Vadio. And that doesn't require any extra licensing. You can set up alerts in Vadio. Right, enhanced search, we're not to that point yet. That's kind of down the roadmap a bit. But with Vadio, you can set up alerts based on, okay, a blue truck, appeared in the parking lot. You can set up an alert on that. Enhanced search is really just forensic searching.
Good point. Yeah, I think that's a really strong point that I missed, and that's you're limited with your Profile M cameras. If you have a Profile M camera, then you can do stuff with it. But Vadio does a lot with any camera that you've got. Good point, Dan. So Dave Bloomberg has a question. With SQL Server Express, there's a 10 gigabit database limit for versions 2022 and older. Can we upgrade if using Express to a newer version on a server such as 2025 that allows up to a 50 gig size? So Chris, what do you think about that one?
So we definitely, yes, you could upgrade. We have not done certification to support SQL Server Express 2025. That is on the roadmap for the back half of this year. So, while it should function, we still don't have official support for it as part of 8.0. So you would be taking a bit of a risk there. I think it's fairly minimal, but there is still a risk because it's not a validated one. But once it's validated, we're supporting it, then certainly you should be able to upgrade from SQL Express 2022 up to the latest 2025 version as well.
Yeah. And is this a true statement, Chris, that regardless of whether it's, version to version, but if you needed to move from SQL Express to something else, maybe something that was larger, faster, whatever, there is a methodology to go do this. It's effectively moving your database instance from that instance to the new one, and support could help you with that process if you needed to go do it, right?
That's correct. Yeah, there are also built-in tools for migration within the SQL Server Manager to help you migrate databases from Express to standard if you were needed to go that path, for example. So, and while also one thing to point out too is while Express does have a size limitation, they also have a number of cores that it will also be able to use. So if we're generating a lot of metadata, the SQL Server will actually need more resources than just purely size too. So there may be different factors that actually want to consider when moving from an older version of SQL Express to a newer SQL instance, whether it be Express or
Yeah.
standard or whatever.
Yeah, good points. Not only the physical storage that it can access, but just the resources overall. Metadata from cameras, especially if it's in a heavy environment and you're listening to everything, it can be a lot of stuff coming through. So there could be multiple reasons why you might want to consider a different database platform. Good point. Next question is from Brian. I apologize if I get the last name wrong, but I'm going to say Brian Kine. How soon will we be able to do the advanced search via a laptop remotely or via the mobile app? The plan for that on the laptop using a web browser would be the end of this year. So that would be using our web client. I'm not totally sure if we have a pin in the roadmap for adding enhanced search to the mobile app. Obviously, it's another logical choice because it's another one of our clients. If either of our product team members have a bit more information on roadmap planning for that, feel free to speak up. Otherwise, we will answer that more specifically whenever we send the summary of this meeting and additional questions answered out.
So just yeah, we have not put anything on the roadmap definitively about the actual mobile app, so the iOS or Android apps to support enhanced search. We have not gotten a lot of requests to do that. Not to say it's not a valid one, but certainly, as you pointed out, we will be adding this to the web client. And when we do add this to the web client, we're going to have to also address the ability to connect to it, the desktop through the cloud as well. So using a laptop remotely will be something that we'll also have to address in that. So look for that later this year.
Okay, cool. All right, next question from Jose Rojas. How soon before the online demo site gets updated to 8.0 and to demo metadata searches? That's a great question, Jose. So our systems engineering team primarily owns getting that updated, and usually our plan is coterminous with the launch date or with the release date. So we might go a little early before market release, but consider it to be within a week or two of the product becoming available for purchase. You should be able to start seeing those updates happening. There'll be an announcement that will go out whenever that gets done, and obviously you would need to have access to the 8.0 client in order to be able to take advantage of the searches. So when we get it done, we'll let you know, but take it from launch date. Within a week or two, we should have an update to the demo system as well. All right, Dave Bloomberg has a question. What would be the expected increase in database size for enhanced search in a site with 50 cameras? That is a very, very specific question, and I love it. So we have the design tool wizard that we showed you guys that we are building in order to try to help answer questions like that. How big, how much storage would you potentially need? Chris, I'll hand this one to you. I'm not sure if we're able to specifically answer that question now, but what we can at least say is we'll give you tools that'll help you guys size it on launch.
That's exactly right. I mean, I left my abacus at the office, so I don't have the ability to. Sorry, that was an old joke there, but no, I don't have the calculation off the top of my head to be able to give you that estimate here in the thing. But the design tool wizard will be out here in the next week or so, and it'll be able to provide those specific type of questions for you.
Yeah, this is the second time that you've used an old joke. You used abacus and then you used VCR earlier in our presentation. So anybody that knows what a
Um,
VCR is, you got the gray hairs up here with
right.
me. All
We got
right,
some questions
that's
in
all the
the
questions.
chat. We do
Yep,
have
that's all the
questions in
questions we had
chat.
in QA. So I'm going to switch over to our chat panel real quick, and I'll see what kind of questions we have here. Looks like we got a handful of them. Let's see. William Brown asked if you have more than one server, can you search all of them at one time? Assuming related to enhanced search.
Yeah, that's a great question. And yes, that's a really key differentiator with version 8 and enhanced search is you can search across multiple cameras, across multiple servers.
It,
Yep. Cool.
it is limited to the limitation is just per management server. So if you have a federation, it will only search within the scope of that management server. So if you have 10 management servers or 100 recording servers underneath a management server, you can search across all of those underneath that management server.
Yep. Good. So Jim asks, is the design tool available to end customers? The answer to that is
Leave that is behind our portal. So as long as they have a login to My Salient, they should be able to get access to that.
Actually, no.
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 Change that then.
Yeah.
So, Jim, what we can do for you there is we can work with you directly on some of those designs. So give us some feedback on what you need to go do, what the designs need to be, and we can help you get those outputs done. Stan Alvarado's got a question. If I have a micro SDHC in my camera and the server goes offline, will the new version update the server with the video that's missing? So we're looking at basically doing camera to SD card and then SD card trickle down. I believe the answer is no to that right now. We don't have edge integration to edge storage devices, but it is something that we are aware of. We don't have it specifically pinned in the roadmap for timing, but Stan, we can talk more about what your need is and what the plan is and see what we can do for you. Additionally, Stan asks, device manager, are we device manager you are showing in the new version? So device manager is planned for the end of this year. And so look for it not in 8.0, but in a subsequent release towards the end of this year. Additionally, will the web client have the alarm view in it? I don't know that we've got a plan for that yet. The web client is primarily live video and playback. We don't implicitly have plans for alarm view to be part of it. But love to talk to you more, Stan, about using a browser to do things like what's inside of alarm view. So feel free to get with your sales rep, your SC, or me, reach out to me direct, and we can talk a little bit about it.
Actually, Adam,
Dave,
real quick.
Yeah.
No, we are as we're designing the improvements to the web to the alarm view, we are talking about trying to get that into the web client. I'm not going to be as bold to say it will be in our next release, following 8.0, but it is one that we're going to try to get into there. So it's just a matter of what all web work we have to do between now and end of the year, and it's definitely going to be targeted to do that. So that's a stretch goal for us.
That's a good point. What we do when we build things is we try not to build things into, painting ourselves into a corner, meaning build a new feature, but think about it in a very, very narrow context. So we're thinking about the design into the web client for the alarm components, the alarm client, but we don't have like Chris and I said, we don't have a pin in the roadmap that says this date is when this will be. So a possibility, but not a time frame that we've specifically defined. We've got a couple minutes left. I'll try to get to a few more of these questions really quick. Looks like Dave Gaddy says, does the device manager provide the opportunity to create automated reports? Example, will it send me a daily report of the devices that are offline? I don't believe that we have scheduled reporting built into our initial plans for it. You can certainly dump and export out of it manually, but it's not currently scheduled right now. Is that right?
That's correct, Adam. So in our first pass here, we're not looking at doing any type of schedule reporting. But so there's some things that we're still trying to sort out that may lend itself to being able to use other tools to get that information out of there on a scheduled basis. So as we get that further refined and such, we'll have more information on that and how you can do some of those things.
Okay. All right, and last question before we wrap is from Bryce Bukowski. The question is for the recording server replacement wizard, is there a way to use it without keeping the same IP? I assume what we're talking about there is a different IP address for the replacement recording server. Really, really good question. I'm not sure the answer to that one. Chris, do you have that, or is that something we need to answer in a follow-up?
No, I have that. I mean, no, you will need to have the same IP address because it's going to be looking. That's one of the steps is, hey, I have to reach out to it. So we know the IP address based on what's in the management server. So if the recording server, the new replacement is a different IP address, we're not going to be able to connect to it. And that's one of the very first things that we do is make sure that we can connect to it. So we don't have a way. We're not providing a way to update the configuration to an offline server to use a different IP address and then push it down there. So if you need to change your IP address, restore the configuration and then change your IP address is what I would recommend in this process.
Okay, got it. Cool. Well, folks, it is 11 o'clock. We did get through pretty much all of the questions that you guys had from a Q&A and a chat standpoint. I really appreciate you all taking time out of your day to let us show you some of the things that we're working on. Hopefully, we've shown you some stuff that's exciting, interesting, and potentially useful for you all as we get to our 8.0 release. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you on the next one.